That sounds good.
All right. Hey, everybody that's listening, I should say. Via the recording, you're joining Linda and I for a private tutoring lesson here as we head into week 6.
Yes.
And I'm going to share my screen quickly here
Okay.
and see if you can see that. You able to see?
Sure can.
Okay.
I see emails.
Yeah, there you go. So we are into session 6, and as we preview what's coming up, this Habits of Mind, if you're not familiar with that, just links for everybody's knowledge and benefit. A lot of us call them essential learning outcomes, or the cool one here. Are you familiar with this, Linda?
I'm not. I looked at it briefly, but I'm not a.
Yeah. So we've
Oh,
all
that's nice.
heard of the grit and persistence and all of these other skills, characteristics, qualities, and such that make for a good learner. And
Okay.
Art Costa has been around for quite a while. I think that it said on their website here that this is the 25th anniversary of Habits of Mind. But just something, I can hear my dogs fighting upstairs. But anyway, just something to keep in mind and is shared for people's knowledge and awareness. Nothing that anybody has to respond to.
So how did you get to that point where it showed all the habits?
I'm going to go back here. So by clicking on this, it'll take
Okay.
you to that link that I just showed you, and then going to resources.
Resources. Okay.
Opens it up, and you don't need to spend a ton of time in there, but just to become familiar with it, especially in today's world with everybody talking about, we call them essential learning outcomes.
Okay.
I don't know what everybody else's district calls them, but we, talking about how do we help kids with their skills that go beyond just the purely academic, those that'll help prepare them for the career world beyond that employees are looking for and such, and that'll help them be successful in the future. So that's just a resource that's included for people's awareness. There is no assignment attached to that. Then we have chapter 13 and 12 and chapter 13 as far as finishing up our book and responding to some questions. And then we have the post your PD plan. And I thought maybe I would just very briefly, so that nobody will think they have to do their assignment this way, I thought I'd show a couple here. So this is what one group put together. You can see it's a shared Google slideshow, and there were only 3 people in this particular group, and so they threw theirs together in a slideshow presentation.
Nice.
Yep. And actually later on here they get into more detail than necessary. You don't need to break this down by time frame. A lot of people think that way as far as when they go to a PD, how does that break out as far as the time frame would be involved. But again, we're looking for more of the 10,000 foot view as to people share. And these are things that people want to share out with their particular setting, or maybe it's something they already have. So, this growth versus fixed mindset is very popular with Carol Dweck's work with the idea of the growth mindset. So that was one. And then somebody else did a little bit differently. Again, they went to a time frame, not necessary. If you choose to do that, it's okay, but don't feel like that is a requirement.
Okay.
And people broke this down by, days. In a lot of times it's in August, ours is leading into the school year. And then later on, some people have a PD, just like this looks a lot like ours, in November. And then there's probably something late in the spring as well. So you can see it's a shared document and pretty easy to put together. So I just wanted to give a visual idea of what those things look like. Some people will do actually a shared spreadsheet and
Oh, okay.
just
Yeah.
fill it in that way. And don't forget, everybody, make sure that you color code your contributions so that we know
Yeah.
who contributed what. Any questions on that piece there, Linda?
No, I like to see that those examples help a lot.
Yeah.
I think our team is looking at a shared document. We started doing that. We do have like time frames as well. So it'll be good to know that we don't have to go to that detail, but a lot of it's already been done, so we'll probably continue with that.
Right.
But we're definitely started. We did the color coding and we've been sharing
Fantastic.
information. Yeah,
You have your small group that will be sharing.
have a good team.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then I
Yeah, right.
also suggest that once those are submitted, that you peek in and see what other folks are doing too. You might want to steal some ideas. I do
Okay.
all the time from our cohort here. There's people
Okay.
attach links to various things, and
Mhm.
I think all of you are stealing ideas from one another. Of
Mhm.
course, we have our final presentation submission here at the end. I made comments to folks as I was grading things, and by the way, I think I'm caught up. There
Yeah, I
are
appreciate that. That was great.
there are still some incompletes, even though folks have submitted, and I sound like a broken record because I think we mention this every time. If you still have an incomplete, and maybe it'll show 5 points out of 10, it still lists as incomplete. It's because you submitted, and it's a great submission, but folks failed to go in and respond to another cohort member. So if you see people that are listening to this, if you see that you still have an incomplete and you're saying, hey, I know I submitted, it's probably because you forgot to go back in and comment on at least one other cohort member submission. So I think we're doing pretty well. Looks like folks are fairly well caught up and within arm's reach of finishing. At the end of this current week that we're just finishing up tonight, we had the guiding questions, and some of you have been working on it since the get-go. That document, as you reflect in a more pinpointed manner, is helpful in what you want to do with your final project. Again, this final project that we have, you are, for lack of a better word, like a mock presentation to a school board, to administrative team, or a curriculum council. Maybe it's, just even within your building. Oops, that's skipping around on me here. But it is basically your suggestions for what you would do to improve your setting. And you've identified a lot of that within those guiding questions. And even when you went through your curriculum cycle review, some folks had amazingly well-developed and practiced protocols in place. So with fidelity, what they say they're supposed to be doing, they're actually doing. So that is awesome. And so then maybe you're just talking about tweaking with something like from UDL or this habits of mind, or, some technology updates or improvements and such. So that is your guiding pieces to this final presentation, both what you put down for your curriculum cycle review and also your thoughts and reflections on the process. Since you're here, Linda, do you feel fairly confident on what you need to have as you're going towards that final?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you or anyone else has any questions, do not hesitate to use our phone numbers and give us a call. I actually talked to one of our members the other day for quite a while, and just really, I think, helped to solidify some of his thinking. And I think there were some areas where he's looking at his setting versus maybe one of those stereotypical great settings that some of our cohort are in currently, and feeling like, geez, I'm gaining from everybody else, but I don't feel like I'm contributing to the discussion. No worries there. That's the case with every cohort. So don't want anybody to worry about that somehow you've got to, have something more than what you do. I think everybody's in their places for a reason, and we're all growing from where we are. So
Right.
anyway,
Yeah.
so really that takes us to the end of our end of our module. Let me make sure that I'm hitting everything here. There is the end of course reflection. We really ask for people's feedback of the survey there. We use that to tweak, and we have, this is cohort 36. So everything that you've experienced is the culmination of suggestions and feedback that we've gotten from the 35 previous cohorts.
Great.
Any questions or
I
things?
think once I dive into it, this week, I may have some, but this has been helpful. So walking through it for me.
Great.
Yeah.
And our typical things that we talked about this last session, if you are running into any difficulties when you get towards Friday, so supposedly MASSP sets Friday midnight as the deadline for the end of the course. However, if you or anyone else is running into some struggles, with that deadline, just send us an email, let us know what's going on, and what time you need to maybe wrap things up over the weekend, and we can work with individuals on that. It's not going to be do or die. It is great if everybody can finish up by Friday, because then that gives Ann and I over the weekend to score things, look things over for the final projects and such, and have our grades in on Monday. But if we need to go just a little bit into that weekend, we can certainly do so. Sounds
I appreciate that. Appreciate that very much. Yep.
great. Good deal.
Right.
Well, we know lots of folks have been on vacation. Linda and I were talking about that before we started the recording here. And so appreciate everybody's efforts in, getting caught up, and hopefully everybody has found their interactions with the content and with each other beneficial. And we have really appreciated everybody's work. So this will be our final session for the cohort, and we wish you all the best moving forward. Sound good?
Yes. Thank you so much for all your help and input, Dave.
You're very welcome.
It helps a lot. Appreciate it.
No problem. So best wishes with the rest of your summers and getting school cranked up. I think most of us are getting back into the office here pretty soon, if you haven't already. So best wishes, and I'm going to sign off. Have a great night.
Same to you, Dave. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Linda.
Bye.